Greetings, students. Sorry I'm a little sick today. We're going to discuss the practice quiz 6S1. Let's begin. Times by 180 over pi to convert from radians to degrees. So we take 5 times 180 divided by 18. Negative 50. And that's negative 5. Question 2. To convert to radians, we times by pi over 180. So we take 60 divided by 180 here, which is 1/3. And I can write this as negative 1/3 pi, or negative pi over 3, or the decimal equivalent of that, which would be negative pi divided by 3 here, negative 1.05 about. Next one times by pi 180 again. 300 divided by 180. And now we can use the fraction key on the calculator to make that a fraction. One and 2/3, or 5/3 pi. The decimal approximate is also fine too. So you could do the decimal approximate here, 300 times pi divided by 180. 5.24 about. Next one. Times by pi over 180 again. Uh, 150 divided by 180. There it is. Make it a fraction. It's 5/6. And again, the decimal approximate is fine as well. 5 pi divided by 6. About 2.62. Alright, next one. Add 360 to this until it becomes bigger than 0. So if I add 360 once, we're going to get negative 72. Add 360 again. 288. Next one. This one's the radian version of the same question. 2 pi is 1 rotation. So if I want to do coterminal, I can add 2 pi to that and subtract 2 pi to that. So I can add 36 pi over 18, because that's 2 pi. So that would be 43 pi over 18. And then I can subtract it as well. Minus 36 pi over 18, which is going to be 29 negative. We add 360 degrees, or 1 rotation. 1 rotation is 2 pi, 360 degrees. Alright, reference angles. These ones, depending on the quadrant, it depends on what we're going to do depending on the quadrant. So like this one. This one is in quadrant 4. How do I know? Because when you look at the grid, straight up is 90, this is 180, this is 270. So this one's in quadrant 4. What that means is 285, we subtract it from 360. We get 75 degrees. And if I want to check my work, a reference angle should have the same sine, cosine, and tangent as the given angle. It's just opposite. It could be different signs. It could be different positive and negative. So if I want to check my work, I can say, what's the cosine of 285? This should be the same as the cosine of 75. And it is. What's the sine of 285? It should be the same number, but opposite signs from the sine of 75. And it is. And what's the tangent of 285? 3.73. That should be the same, but opposite signs for the tangent of 75. There we go. Alright, this one I would make it in degrees first. So times by pi over 180. Or 180 over pi, sorry. 7 times 180 divided by 4. That's 315. That's also quadrant 4. So I take 360 minus 315. 45 degrees. And I don't care if you answer radians or degrees. You can make that back into radians if you want. But times them by pi over 180. Pi over 4 is the answer. In radians. Convert to degrees, minutes, seconds. And then converting to decimal degrees. Alright, so this is 162 degrees. Sorry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the decimal point here times by 60. That's 6 minutes. Then I take this decimal point, times it by 60 again. "45 seconds. And this one's the same, it's just backwards. So I take 20 divided by 60. That's going to be a third, 0.33. And I add to that 6 divided by 60 twice. Because 60 times 60. 0.335. So seconds, you divide by 60 twice because there's 3,600 seconds per degree. Minutes, you divide by 60 once. Next one, S equals R theta. Make sure theta is in radians. This one works. This one you got to make it in radians first. So that 90 times by pi over 180, that's pi over 2. So S equals 8 times 3 pi over 2. And again, you can give me a decimal answer or a exact answer, I don't care. 8 times 3 pi divided by 2. So 37.69, 37.7. Or you could say it's 12 pi. That'd be acceptable as well. Next one here, S equals 11 times 90 pi over 180. So you have 17.27, about 28. Or you can give me the exact answer, which would be 11 pi over 2. Anyways, there's the front, 1 through 12. Let's move on to the back. Sorry, I had to find a sheet. Alright, next one, area of sector. Area equals 1/2 r squared theta. Make sure theta is in radians. This one is in radians, so that's good. So 1/2 times 12 squared times 7 pi over 6. Again, you can give the answer in a decimal form or exact form. So about 263. Next one, convert 90 RPM to radians per second. So radians per second, revolutions per minute. There are 2 pi radians per revolution, and there's 60 seconds per minute. So I'm going to start this off by dividing 90 by 60. That's going to give me 3 halves, or 1.5. That's now revolutions per second. And there's 2 pi radians per revolution. So about 9.42. Alright, next one, cosine. Adjacent hypotenuse, 24 over 25. Couldn't be simpler. I left it on the board, the triangles. Sine, opposite hypotenuse, 8 over 10. You can reduce it into 4/5 if you want. This is SOHCAHTOA, by the way. Tangent, you have to find the missing side here with the Pythagorean theorem. So the side here, we're going to find it. X squared plus 15 squared equals 17 squared. So 17 squared minus 15 squared, 64. X is 8. So the tangent will be 8 over 15. Same thing here. Find the missing side. X squared plus 7 squared equals 25 squared. So take 25 squared minus 7 squared. 576. Square root that. It's 24. Alright, so 24 over 25 will be the answer. Alright, next one. If this is 18 and 6, it says cosine of theta. I need to find the hypotenuse length. So on number 19, I'm going to take 18 squared. It could be negative or positive. Plus 6 squared equals r squared. $360. So that doesn't square root evenly. It's 6 times the square root of 10. Or it's the square root of 360. So the cosine of theta will be x over r. And I don't care if it's reduced or not. It can be reduced by, which can be rationalized by moving the root to the top, times by the root of 360, or specifically the root of 10. I don't care if it is or isn't. It's good enough right there. Alright, next one. We need to get the m out of the bottom here. So I'm going to times this one by m, and this one by m. And that's going to become 4m in the top over m minus 9m over 16. This m over m is going to cancel in a minute here. over 3m over 16 plus m over m. So the m's here will cancel and the m's there will cancel. So I have 4 minus 9m over 16 over 3m over 16 plus 1. 1. The next step, times by 16. I'll get rid of the 16s here. So I'm going to have 16 times 4 here. 64 minus 9m. These are m's. Sorry. Over. Same, this is m as well. Sorry. A little bit messy with handwriting today. 3m plus 16. And then there, that's simplified. That's all I want now. Good luck on the test. Hopefully you do well on the quiz this week.